This is the ERISA Edge, bringing you fast, insightful, and actionable advice on fiduciary responsibility and retirement plans. My name is Don Jones, and our meaningfully different discussion today will focus on the offense of fiduciary care. We have a tendency to talk defense, to talk about scary things. What would happen if the Department of Labor did an investigation? What would happen if the IRS did an audit? What would happen if there was a participant claim? What would happen if you lost everything? So let's talk about offensive side of the plan. Now, when we do a plan, we expect every plan could get an investigation from the DOL or from the IRS an audit or a participant claim. It's our job to prepare for that. But what we ought to put even more emphasis on is the offense of the plan. What happens when you have an independent, experienced 402 fiduciary? We've been doing this for 15 years, and we find the service providers to the plan are excellent. If we find something that could be improved, we may talk to you later and make suggestions and then have you go to them as if it's your advice, your idea. And we think most of you don't earn enough money. If you could learn more about Title I of ERISA, you could require more fees, and you would have a better plan for your plan fiduciaries, plan sponsors, and their participants, and their beneficiaries. Here's what we find when we take over a plan. ERISA is complicated, and often we find people don't know to do certain things. Often they're concerned that there needs to be, and it is required, to do what's called a 408B2 as an example. That's a disclosure of fees. No one minds your fees. We have hundreds of plans and no one minds your fees. But if you don't disclose it and it isn't clear, then there can be problems. But we often find that you're not earning as much money as you could. I'm particularly talking to the investment side of it. A very important part of ERISA is to document substantive procedural prudence, the process. Very few plans do that. Then, by definition, the plan is not prudent because it doesn't have a high-quality process. We make sure that's done. You will learn more from it. You will be a better advisor. You will be better than you ever thought you could be. Most plans don't do properly 404C. It's done almost 100% incorrectly in the industry. It's 26 requirements, but they're not hard to fulfill. You just have to make sure you do all of them. If you remember the company Enron, they tried to use 404C to protect themselves, but they didn't do it correctly. Did you know the Department of Labor said that after they finished 404C, that this was the most protective PTE, prohibitive transaction exemption, they'd ever done? And yet it usually is done incorrectly, which means it leaves you vulnerable. The Department of Labor in 2020 and 2022 gave such important advice of how they would monitor investments in a qualified plan using risk-adjusted return. And very few people have heeded to it. But we'll show you how to do it. You will be in great demand. But did you know that the Department of Labor believes that approximately 40 to 50% of the money that each participant could have is not there? It's fees that are not easily seen or recognized. Can you imagine what would happen if a participant didn't have to work any longer, put the same amount of money in, same investments, but have 40 to 50% more? Did you know on our average plan, people will say, well, Don, the reason I didn't recommend an independent 402 fiduciary is the cost. Did you know our average cost for a plan is 7 basis points? 7/100th of 1%. But our average savings in a plan is about 100 basis points. We will find with you that your participants will have about 1% better return per year at a 7 basis points cost. Now, did you know that 1% for a participant who worked for 35 years and it made 1% better a year, didn't put more money in, didn't work longer, didn't have better return, will have nearly $200,000 in their account? That's the value of experience. Another value is your plan sponsor. Did you know that the plan sponsor spends approximately 50 to 75% more time on the plan? Where if you had an independent fiduciary, you would cut their time down between 10 to 20, maybe 30 hours a year. That's the offense. Now, how about you as the service provider? We've already said that the net gain is significant, allowing you to not have the fiduciary liability, and we take it as a discretionary fiduciary. Be sure you use a discretionary fiduciary, because there's people walk around and say, oh, yes, I'm a fiduciary. But then they go in as a directed fiduciary and never tell you the difference. We are always a discretionary fiduciary. Here's my promise to you. Your plans will be better. You'll keep more plans. You'll obtain more plans. You'll obtain larger plans. That is the offensive side of ERISA. This has been the ERISA Edge. We hope you have found this to be helpful. Be sure to follow us as we talk more about fiduciary responsibilities and retirement plans. Stay tuned for our other videos.